Okay. We made it to episode 4.
We did.
We made it to the end of this year. It is almost
Thank God.
2025.
Thank God.
Why?
Yeah. Everyone that I'm speaking to, I'm saying this was a character building year.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a hard year, but I wouldn't say it was an easy one. It definitely tested me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things that I love about this year is how much I was able to show up for others and like show up for my family members in particular. Like I was thinking about like at least my immediate family. I was like, oh, this is one time where you needed support this year. And I had the capacity to support you. And I was thinking about that recently. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. I didn't even like y'all a few years ago, you know? So this is surely a development in my life.
It's a good development. We like that. It's growth. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Character building for sure. Yeah, this is my first full year out of a school. Which like...
What are you unlearning?
Oh.
Did we ever talk about on the podcast how when you first started this new job, you would tell her that you needed to go to the bathroom?
Yes. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but I did. Yeah, because, you couldn't leave the kids alone.
I mean, I get it.
I mean, it was weird for her. She's like, why are you asking me? I'm like, because I'm just letting you know. I'm just making sure you're aware. Yeah, so unlearning a million things. I have not unlearned any of them yet. But I'm at least aware of them now. Definitely like the time off piece is a big one. That just having time to do other stuff is still foreign. Remote work is weird.
You thrive in remote work though. You love it.
I do like it, but it's odd because I'm like, am I supposed to be doing something else? I'm like, I'm not busy enough. But I'm just used to being busy, so like I'm still trying to get used to the fact that I don't have to be busy.
Just having more time.
Yeah. And like I can do my job pretty easily. So I'm just like, it doesn't take up my entire day the way that my previous ones used to. So it's just a strange unlearning to be like, that's fine. Like, that's okay. You can just also just chill and like not work all day. That's fine. So still a learning curve for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I bet it's hard to not have to put out fires all day.
But it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, horrible and like really stressful, but like, yeah, I got all my steps in by 10 a.m. And I was moving, drinking no water, but I was moving. And now I'm like home. It's just different. Like it's not even like comparable, honestly, the difference. But I want
probably interacted with more people too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like I think sometimes like in a given week, like I just don't leave my house. I was like, and I leave my house like when I go to work in person, and when I go to my shift. Otherwise, like I'm just home. Which for me, I'm like cool with it. I'm like, no, Linda, like go outside.
Yeah.
Go find someone to talk to. Yeah. So it's a new one that I'm like trying to learn.
Yeah. Just like forcing yourself to put yourself in different environments.
Yeah. Because before I had to, like there was no alternative. Like 5 days in person the whole day. Now it's like.
Would you do it again?
Probably. I know.
I don't think that's bad.
I can't
no
tell.
Judgment in my question.
I don't know. I think that I don't think I'm like far enough away from it to not go back yet. I don't want to go back because I don't know how to do it a healthier way.
I don't know if there is a healthy version.
I know.
Yeah.
That sucks. Like a lot. That sucks. Yeah. But I probably, I think if like.
Would you ever teach at a private school?
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit the same.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Maybe that's a healthy version, but you are compromising a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a healthy version though, because I
don't know if I would call it a.
Maybe I mean version. It might be. I think the role is different there. Or like there's more like maybe better boundaries around like you're doing like whatever your job is and that's it. But there's something about supporting community that exists in like public spaces. I mean, I don't know about private schools. I've never worked at one, but yeah, I would definitely go back. I think it would have to be like for a semester in one capacity for a little bit. I couldn't handle going back. You know, like how the Wizard of Oz, like once the curtain's up and you see the guy on the computer, like I feel like I've seen that step. So now I can't take it seriously. I'm like, I know this is all a lie. I know we're all just telling ourselves half-truths. Like I can't.
I mean, is that not adulting?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on adulting?
I think it's a verb.
Okay. Say more.
I think that sometimes we need to adult, and then I go back to just like being a person that does not operate that way.
I know there are certain words that are synonyms to adulting.
Like what?
Being reliable, responsible, serious.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like any of those words.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I mean, I want to
like
be
them
reliable.
either.
I think like as a person, I just like I think the part of physical adulting is like, I don't know, like taxes. Like I don't know how to do that. And no one ever taught me. I have to, and like health insurance and like that stuff, like rent, bills, like all that. Ew. So I don't feel like an adult because I don't ever want to learn about it. Like I just want it to not be a part of my life.
I just wonder at what point are we gonna feel like we're adults, or does that
maybe when we have more
ever
money
happen?
Maybe it'll never happen. But I feel like part of it is like I feel like I'm I don't feel like I have enough like stability in my life for me to feel like that's like routine, like bills and whatever is like routine. For me it's always like, oh my god, stuff, like I have to do all these, it feels like that often. So I feel like I'm still almost like cosplaying an adult.
I will say my favorite part about being an adult is that I get to do whatever I want, and I don't have to answer anybody. I don't have to consider or even think about I'm living under someone else's roof and they're watching my every step. That was really restricting. As somebody who grew up in a strict household, I wouldn't recommend. And it's why when I was younger, I was craving to turn 18. Like I was yearning to be older.
Yeah.
And now that I'm here, I'm like, what parts of being an adult can I enjoy?
Yeah.
And what parts of it feel stressful and I don't like it and I don't want to do it. Like even the idea that we have to do or accomplish certain things by a particular age is something that I also am completely discarding from my
me too.
view
I have released that. I have let it go because like we say this often in our podcast, but I feel like I know people are fronting. Everyone is. So I'm like, cool, actually it's fine. Like we're all gonna front together. Yeah, it's fine. But the part about being an adult that I think is really exciting is that the things you want change. That's cool. Like I'm like excited for discipline and structure around my like money and around my like whatever, like how I live my life. It's exciting that you are in charge of that. I mean, you don't have to be. You could just live by like, I don't know, just vibes, and that's an option. But it's also exciting that like, okay, like having like the furniture you want, like decorating your space how you want to, like those things are like being able to own things that you wanted for yourself that you're getting on your own. Like I think that's also really, I think it feels motivating to like keep building something because you get to do it for yourself, and then you can also like give back and like offer things to your family and like all those things. Like that's also part of being an adult that I do enjoy. But it's still a verb. It's still a thing you do.
Oh yeah, I
know that we're closer to 30 than 20, but it's definitely
honestly I don't even mind.
Yeah,
I don't mind. Being 20 was horrible, and like when I think about my early 20s, I just give myself a hug, It's true. I just talk about feeling so lost and out of place and discombobulated is how I would describe those first few years, and just out of place is the only word that really comes to mind.
I don't feel like I think if like things settled, I mean settled is really like relative, but settled more at like 26. So like a year,
a few months ago for me.
Yeah, like maybe a year ago.
Last year,
2 years ago. And even then I was like, okay, it felt like I came out of whatever the first 5 years of being 20 were. I don't know what's happening, honestly. Like my recall of it isn't great. I mean, COVID didn't help either, but like
I know.
I just feel like we were thrown into adulthood post college, and I was like, oh, this is just like my life now. Like I'm supposed to like just figure out what exists. Yeah, it was a lot.
I would say one of my favorite things is also having my own place.
Yeah.
And
oh my God.
I saw something recently. They're like, the reason why you spend so much time at home is because you actually enjoy being home now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, because when I was a teen,
you're like, get me out.
I got a job because I wanted an excuse to not be home, and so it's something that I often think about. I'm like, oh wow, it's so nice that I get to enjoy my space.
Yeah.
And I can be at peace here. Like, I can leave whatever bullshit outside of this door and just come home and have a reset. Like, actually have a sanctuary is something I've always also wanted for myself.
We're doing such a good job, low key, at adulting.
I know.
And it's hard to like remember that because there's so much else that I feel like I'm failing at constantly. But I know it's not great. But we have our own places. Like that's huge. Like
I've been paying rent for a long time.
You know what I mean? Like I did the math. I shouldn't have done the math, but I did the math. And it's, like, you know?
Yeah.
But it's nice. It really is such a game changer to be like, okay, like I can take my time to make decisions and like figure out what I want to do and like make a plan, be excited about my plan. Like it's nice. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And I do wish that our perception of adulting changed, or hopefully it will change the older that we get.
Yeah.
Also, like I don't want it to feel so heavy and not entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I want to be entertained as an adult.
I told you last episode, my goal is to have fun. I'm trying to have fun.
Yeah.
And like I think it's easier to have fun when like I decide what the fun is and that I'm like investing in it in my own way, how I want to invest in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's some more fun, and here's to it being enjoyable. Sometimes. Yeah. Responsibility is important.
I also think responsibility is not inherently a bad thing.
No.
Or a serious thing.
You just gotta do it, because if you don't, then like you're just in a really tough spot.
Yeah.
And then you can't have any fun.
Yeah.
No fun.
Yeah. No, you're just learning as you go, I guess, and figuring it out.
Yeah. I feel like we've done a lot of reflecting in the past 3 episodes. But now that we're at the end of the year, I feel like we should go back to season 1 of our podcast and think about everything that we've like learned from when we started doing this, which like technically was like October 2023. Yeah, okay, I got it right.
I don't know why you didn't think you were going to get it right.
Because time has been I just feel like it feels like really long ago that we did that first season. It didn't feel like it was last year. I don't know. So
I remember that day.
Right? It was fun. It was like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'm curious to kind of just hear if any of our like reflections or thoughts, that the questions we initially asked ourselves have changed. What do you think? You down?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Where do you want to start? Let's see.
Let's
find some questions. Season 1, episode 1. Our title was "With My Mind Set on Loving Me." Aww. We were talking about ourselves and building a relationship with ourselves. With that, and our mantra, our very first mantra, was name your feelings again and again and again. And our question for the first episode was, do you notice how you talk to yourself? So my question to you is, since that first episode, so almost 1.5 years ago.
Wow.
I know, right?
1.5 years is a long time.
Yeah. Maybe a little less than a half, I guess. But do you feel like you notice how you talk to yourself? And if you have noticed it, has it changed over the past year-ish?
I don't know if it's changed drastically. The only thing that has changed is that I am actively trying to become an observer of my mind instead of being in it, just noticing what my brain is doing. And I think meditation has helped a lot with that, because I think that that's what meditation offers you, right? The ability to sort of just sit there, listen to a thought, let it go, like allow another thought to come through, let it go. And that's kind of the practice of meditation, at least in my experience. And so I definitely think that there are days where I'm just, I don't know, like the self-talk changes daily.
Yeah.
And I also think that that's okay. But I think it's being able to not necessarily bounce back, but to observe how it is that I'm talking to myself.
Do you feel like you notice how you talk? You notice it more now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm training myself to notice more often, like, what is this thought that I'm having and where is it coming from?
Nice. I think for me, I think my self-talk has increased since our initial question. I feel like, or at least like, it's not in my subconscious anymore, I guess. Like I'm like, Linda. I'm like,
Don't you love talking about yourself in third person?
Yeah, I think it actually really helps me. Like,
I feel
as
like
a
Blair
person.
Warnoff.
Yeah, like a little bit, but I feel like I don't know. It helps me remember like I'm also experiencing my life. Like,
Yeah.
I'm also just like doing stuff and things are happening and like, you know, so in some ways it helps me. It's helped me like take it a little less seriously when I'm like, oh shit, like this crazy thing is happening and there's like I'm overwhelmed. I can like step out of myself enough to be like, all right, like go do something else and come back to this feeling because like right now it's not productive. So I feel like I wasn't as good at doing that a while ago, but now I feel like I noticed that I do that more. So I feel like I've built a good relationship with myself over the past year and a half. A better one. We got work to do.
I mean,
But, you know, it exists now. Before it didn't exist, so I feel like it's progress in one direction.
And we were having this conversation yesterday, but I think so often we focus on all the things that need to change and all the things that we can get better at. Yeah. And I am releasing the idea of self-improvement because I don't necessarily think that there's anything about ourselves that we have to improve. I just don't feel like that's a helpful way of looking at ourselves, or at least for me. And so
it centers the negative.
Yeah. And I really, really, really want to center the positive. And that doesn't necessarily mean like being a toxic positivity person.
Like nothing can go wrong ever. Everything is the best.
Exactly. And I'm great and everything's great and I can never do anything wrong. Like that is just living in denial, which, you know, sometimes I'm willing to live in denial. Not always.
Yeah. Okay. You ready to go to number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, number 2. Our title was Drink More Water or You Might Die. Shout out to Mick Jenkins for that title.
Was funny.
I liked our process. I like our process for how we find all of our titles. Okay, our second mantra ever was you can always restart your rituals. Okay. I can answer this one first. How do you nourish yourself was our question.
Yeah, I want to know. You tell me and tell us.
Well, I mean, inconsistent for sure. I'll just preface by just saying that. What I'm good at is always restarting. I'll always give myself a chance to restart the same habit as often as I want to, would like, can, need to. I feel like when I was younger, it was really hard for me. So I'm like, I didn't do it right. So now I have to wait whatever arbitrary timeline for me to like restart at a different date. But I think I've gotten better at being like, whatever, like it didn't work out this way. I can always give myself room to restart. So that's been a really helpful way to nourish myself. What about you?
This is a hard question for me. I don't necessarily know how to answer it. And there's something about asking a question and then it's something different to answer it yourself.
Yes.
I'm much better at asking other people questions than I am at answering them. And I think we both have this trait that we are actively working through.
Live on camera.
Live, right. For everyone to see and judge. So how do I nourish myself? I actually think I'm pretty good at nourishing myself. Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. I don't know how, but I just think I'm good at it.
All right. Think about a couple examples. In what ways? Like how? Give us some examples. Some tips for me. Honestly, I'll take them.
The older that I'm getting, the more that I'm realizing how much health and wellness is important to me. It is a pillar in my life. I think it structures everything in my life. And I also think because I grew up around a lot of people that had a lot of health issues, I am much more cognizant of that. And so, like, I just I'm adopting Pilates right now. I'm like, ew, I can't believe I'm one of those girls. You know, I'm
Pilates is so cool. It looks
like,
very
I'm so
difficult.
annoyed at myself. Fuck.
Why?
Like, I'm such a, like, what is it? Quintessential girl? I don't know, like a wellness girl. Anyway, I love it though. I love moving my body. I feel like that's the main way that I nourish myself outside of like the typical things around eating and like what I'm consuming. I'm very intentional about what I consume as well, which is a form of nourishing myself. Do you see how red I got when I started talking about Pilates? That's actually fucking hilarious.
Why?
Maybe I'm embarrassed.
Why is it
for being one of these girls?
Who are these girls who do Pilates? Like, what is the stereotype you're like thinking of? I don't even have it in mind.
I really don't know what my issue is, but I do think it's pretty beneficial.
Were you like judging them? Like, do you think before?
I'm not judging them. I'm just, I want to be original. And so,
but nothing is new.
I know nothing is original. I live in contradiction. I understand.
Pilates is hard, so good for you. From what I've seen of it, I'm like, wow, okay. I'm like, there's a muscle or a bone there. Whoa, okay. I'm like,
the micro movements. That's what they call it. Micro movements. Anyway, it's really interesting to learn about myself through this new medium. But I enjoy it. So this is how I'm nourishing myself right now. I would say.
I feel like when you first asked that question a year ago, like I don't think I had an answer.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. I think that we ask ourselves questions that we are not yet ready to answer.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoy this process because we're able to sort of take a step back and be like, oh wow, who was that person that asked that question?
Right.
And we're on the other side now that we have more perspective. Maybe we can answer it. I don't know. I hope.
Yes.
What is it? Zora Neale Hurston says.
Yeah.
Some years are for questions and some years are for answers. So
hopefully this coming year is one of answers. I've asked enough questions.
Oh, I would like
too many questions. I would like some clarity on the other side.
Yeah. I think the other question, or one of my favorite episodes that we did, our first season, was around forgiveness.
Oh yeah.
And we we had a lot of conversations around forgiveness and how people responded to that one. And I want to ask you this. I'm going to sort of flip the question, but the question was, what do you easily forgive? And what would you say? Do you easily forgive your partner, your friends, or your family? And who are you less likely to forgive?
So this is about like people, types of relationships.
Yeah.
I think I easily forgive everyone.
Of course,
I think it does. But I think for me it has less to do with them and more to do with me. Like I don't forget, like forgiving people just takes it off my plate. Like it's actually for my benefit. Like
say that again.
Yeah, it's not, I think I forgive most people honestly the first time, second time, whatever, like because I'm like, I'm not carrying this. Like you're not about to give me this labor of like being mad at you. No, I'm not doing it. So wow. I think I actually forgive everybody the same way, but not because I'm like a good person, but because I'm like, no, I'm not doing this kind of work for this. But I think I easily forgive effort. I easily forgive, like, you made a mistake because you were trying. Easy. Because, like, that's all I can ask people to do is try. So if you try and it didn't work, then forgiven. Yeah. That's it. Like, yeah. So I easily forgive everyone, but because I don't want the work of being mad at people. What about you?
I mean, I love that you said that because that's something I had to actively learn. Yeah. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for myself. Yeah. And it's exactly what you're saying. I am taking this weight off my shoulders by forgiving you. And it's actually one of I wouldn't say it's easy, but it is always available to us. And we've talked about this, like taking ownership over your own life. One way you do that is around forgiving the people that did you dirty, that, did all types of shit. Yeah. And not carrying a certain perception of them with you. Yeah. Yeah.
I think if I'm going a little deeper and like thinking about people, like I think I have a harder time forgiving my family over like people that aren't in my family, because I feel like we just have so much more history and like everything is like intertwined and tangled with like all of the history that's there. Yeah. So it's definitely like extra work for me to forgive people in my family, but I think the result is the same. I'm still like, how do I get there? Because like I don't want this tone, I don't want this energy, I don't want to like impact our relationship with the way that I now feel about whatever happened. Like it doesn't help, but it's definitely easier to forgive strangers or like people who like I don't have a closer relationship with. But
of course,
yeah, I think my goal is always the same, because otherwise then I'm like putting like my feelings in your hands, and like I don't want to ever do that. Like, I mean, it happens, right? Like, but I would prefer not to put my like positive experience at the rate of your willingness to see what you did wrong. Like that we might never match. You might be like, I've never done anything wrong before, and I'm like, well,
a lot of
so I'm gonna be
like
mad forever. Like that's the option.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like
and
no.
then people sometimes just don't realize what they did and how it impacted you, and so therefore, as the person that was impacted, you have responsibility.
You gotta take some action. Whether it be I gotta tell you. If you decide, if I tell you and you're like, that's stupid, then like I gotta decide if I think it was stupid. Maybe it was. Maybe I was overreact. I don't know. But like either way, the action is on me. Yeah. For my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Forgiveness is hard.
It is hard. I think that one is. I wonder if my answer would have been the same. Do you remember what our mantra was for that one? For the forgiveness one? Let me see if I can find it. I'm curious because I don't know if that would have been my answer a year ago. Let's see. I like our title. We're better when we admit that we too can cause harm.
Shout out to No Name.
Yo, for real. Forgiveness is in no one's hands but your own.
Wow, do we know ourselves?
Maybe.
Do we have the same thoughts?
Yeah. Wait, this one actually I think it's worth reading the description. Forgiveness can be grueling. On this episode, Adeline and Linda come to terms with the reality that at some point we all have to forgive somebody. Hint, even if that somebody is ourselves.
Yeah.
Wow, we were talking. That
saying,
lesson.
We know something.
That one is worth repeating. I might need to listen to that one again. I think it's hard because I think that everybody has a desire to be like understood without having to speak up.
Oof.
And it's just kind of a delusional place to live in. Like you gotta say stuff out loud. So
what do you mean you don't read my mind? You don't know my every thought.
Like
and my
why?
Age.
How did you not know that the way you did that was gonna bother me? That's crazy.
Are you not self-aware?
Clearly not. So it's hard. But obviously, clearly, us even a year ago were able to get to a point where we like knew that was the better way. It's hard to practice, but yeah, I think the minute I was like, oh yeah, it's ownership for me. It's like my choice to give myself an easier day than like holding on to this. Yeah. If that's the choice available to me, I'm letting it go. If I've named my concern, I've said what I can about it, and I've told you why it hurts me, and if you choose to decide that like you don't like it wasn't real, you don't believe me, like then then you deal with that however you want to deal with it. I'm gonna choose to decide how I want to move if that's how you feel, if that's how you treat me when I tell you that something you did hurt me. If your response is like if your response is like, oh, I wasn't my intention, like how can I do better, or how can I fix it, that's not your like response, then like maybe you don't care about our relationship, because maybe it was dumb but I still it hurt me, so let's resolve it. What about you? Who do you easily forgive? A year, you've had a year.
A year ago, I would have said my friends.
Easily
forgive. Today, I would definitely say myself.
I love that.
Yeah. I think that I spent a lot of years punishing myself, and I didn't realize that I could offer myself forgiveness for how I showed up, for just things that didn't go how I wanted them to. And I think it's so easy to punish yourself. And right now, I'm like, even when you were talking about nourishing yourself and how you constantly restart, that to me is a practice of forgiveness. To say, I am capable of trying again. I'm not a bad person. And that's why I've been telling you that this year I've adopted the mindset of being a beginner.
Yeah.
I will go back to it, start by starting. It has literally shaped my entire year. And me considering myself a beginner was my way of forgiving myself, was allowing myself to fail and to try again and to mess up and just to make different choices every single time. And so I definitely think that I'm forgiving myself more easily these days, and it makes me happy.
This is like group therapy. I'm loving it.
No, this is definitely therapy. I don't know if people know that, but
no,
I'll be out here learning.
And we're like seeing we're circling back. I think this is actually a really important step in our therapy.
So every year we'll go back to every question we've ever asked.
Yeah, because they be good questions. We be asking, And I think it's also cool to see like we actually have answers. Like I don't know if I thought we would have all the answers, but like even if it's not like the best answer, like I'm thinking about it. Like it stuck with me enough that like it was a part of what I was like working through in the past like 12 months, since we first asked the question.
Earlier this year I attended some conference, and one the moderator asked the group, what question are you working through right now? And I love that question because it meant that you can stay with a question for a long time. And I think that that's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, you can stay with it. Even if it's not like front of mind. Like, I don't think I realized I was thinking about nourishing myself until we just asked the question. But I was like, I am. Like, I'm nicer to myself than I was last year.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And that's worth celebrating.
Yeah. Yeah. On most days. Some days I'm like. But it's still with like a better tone, you know. My tone is less scolding of things. All right. Okay. 4th episode was about success. Don't want to waste my days. I want to spend them on enjoyment. And that
Burna
feels
Boy.
like our theme of this coming year, I hope, because I'm just trying
Success
to
is
have
mine.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Our mantra was success invites change. Action changes experience. We have some nice themes in our episodes. I'm loving the consistency.
Yeah.
And our question was more of like a fill in the blank. Success is, let's play. Success is
Joy.
your sweater. Success is messy.
Success is worthwhile.
Success is not about money.
Success is not binary.
Success is about community.
Success is about possibility.
Success is fleeting.
Success is always available.
Facts. Success is not tied to capitalism.
Success. Capitalism destroys success.
Facts.
Stop
Facts.
it.
It does. Yeah. Success is not tied to anyone's idea of you.
Success is yours.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like when we first talked about it, it was around like, if I'm remembering correctly, like what we were told we should be or what our life should look like based on like, you know, our parents and our families like hopes for us. And how
that
much
we destroyed.
Being a teacher, I mean, it was whatever. I'm not even doing it anymore, so it doesn't matter. Maybe she was right to begin with. I should have been a lawyer. But you know, like it was a tension point, you know, a really like strong one, and like one that like I think that everyone internalizes in some way, you know.
Absolutely.
Obviously, like no one wants to fail. You don't want to fail, but like we said, I remember saying this at some point, was like failure is based on who sees you. Like you only failed if someone decided you didn't meet their bar, but like fuck that bar, find somebody else. The bar changes based on who you ask.
I remember when we first had that conversation, I think that was our attempt in asking ourselves, what kind of life do we want to live?
Yeah.
And is that life successful? Is that our definition of success?
Yeah. Do you feel like in the past year since we posed this fill in the blank that you have more things to fill in the blank with?
Absolutely.
Yay.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Success is abundant.
Yeah.
And
Success,
it doesn't look one particular way. I think you said
and it
that.
changes all the time. It could be this. It could be just doing something you said you would. Keeping a promise to yourself. The success. I'm working on that one. I know,
yeah.
It's hard.
I'm making promises to myself too. I'm enjoying it. I think it's how you build self-trust.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that so serious.
I don't know if I have self-trust. I've never thought about that actually. Do I trust myself? I think I trust myself for the most part.
The way that
always.
I see it is, if you said you were going to do something, this is you making a promise to yourself.
Yeah.
And then you did it. It could be something as small as I meal prepped.
Yeah.
And then I did it. That is you building self-trust.
Sometimes I'd be lying to myself.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
But then eventually I tell the truth. I'm like, you weren't going to do that.
Yeah.
No, you weren't going to do that.
Yeah.
I love, okay, great. Enjoyment. Enjoyment is the goal.
Enjoyment is necessary. The next topic we talked about was love.
Fun.
And love languages.
We love love.
And I think that was the first time that I considered consideration as a form of a love language. I had never thought about that before. I was like, oh, it's only, the 5 that were prescribed to us. And then here comes smart Linda telling us, telling me, no, love is consideration. And I've never forgotten that.
I love. Look, it's stuck a year later.
I'm telling
Yay.
you. So I think our question was, what form of love do you have a hard time receiving?
Okay.
Spicy.
Not you sipping your tea.
I want to know.
What form of love? I think consideration.
I was going to say any.
All of them. Yeah. I think I have I really struggle to be considered. And I think if I am considered, I try to make it as simple as possible to be considered. So I think I have a really difficult time with it. And I know that like when I'm on the other side of doing it, it doesn't feel difficult to do it for other people. So I don't know why like there's a disconnect in my brain on the other side. But yeah, I have a really hard time being considered. I try to make it as easy to be considered if someone's trying to consider me, and I'm like, or you just, it's cool. Like, let's just not
I
do
don't
it.
exist.
Like, I'm good.
I'm not even here.
Don't worry about it. Like, I'm good. It's fine. Yeah. So I don't know, but that is super hard for me. Like, I don't know what the disconnect is. I haven't gotten to that layer in my brain yet, but
that's okay.
It's
We're whispering to that part of your brain right now.
Yeah, it's hard. It's awkward. Like, I don't know. It feels weird. I don't get it. I'm like,
yeah,
it's not comfortable.
I haven't figured it out for myself.
Yeah. Which one's hard for you?
Yeah, what do you think?
Maybe what's hard for you to receive?
Tell me
okay,
about myself. I need to know.
What I think is hard for you to receive. I think
listening.
I think it's hard for you to accept affirmations.
You know, that's what I was thinking. And then I didn't want to say it out loud.
So I'm gonna expose you for a second since you asked me the question. I think when you're given like okay, like if you're doubting yourself about something, this is my experience, so I don't know about anybody else but me. When you doubt yourself about something and like if I or someone is able to affirm like that you're making a good choice or you're making a good decision, because they're not quickly like questioning your decision, you're like, oh, are you telling me the truth? It's like, yeah, like it's a good idea. What do you mean? So I think you have a hard time trusting yourself. So that when people
I told you about the self-trust.
I know.
Self-trust
so when
this
people
year.
trust you, I think you question them.
Yeah.
Or you don't. You're like, that must be a lie, and it's like,
I know, and I don't know where I learned that.
It's like why? Because if I was to disagree with you, you wouldn't question me. You'd be like, of course, duh. Like,
yeah,
you know. So for me, like, I think I've told you before.
This is definitely an issue in other areas of my life.
Yeah, so I think you have a really hard time accepting that one, that people in your life are like honest with you on both accounts, and that like they wouldn't just tell you like you don't have yes men in your, at least that I know. Like I don't think people in your life are just telling you yes because like it's easy. But I've noticed, I think you have a really hard time like
even with my therapist.
Yeah.
And I hate it because if I'm going to therapy, I expect you to tell me what I can do better. I don't expect you to affirm that I am doing the best that I can.
Right. So you're like, you don't see a problem, then like that's a problem.
Basically, I need a new therapist because why are you not dragging me?
Because you don't need to be dragged. You're not as messy as you think you are. That's why. Yeah, that's the
Damn,
moment
you're telling me I'm not. Should I be on the podcast? No,
you definitely belong here. Don't worry. You messy enough. Don't you worry. But not also in this way.
Now there's like a barometer or something of how messy we.
Nah, you decide for yourself. You asked that question. I didn't prompt you. You know, like you're messy. It's fine. But like not in the way like people tell you like positive things about you. There's something that like blocks it for you. I don't know what it is.
Maybe this year we'll figure it out. Do
you think it's true of everyone in your life? Like, do you feel like you like? Is there somebody who in your life you hear it from that you're more easily able to accept it?
No,
it's true across the board.
Yeah,
it's so interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder what that is.
I don't know.
What do you feel like is your love language? It's not affirmations, or is it affirmations? How is it affirmations? What the fuck?
Let me explain myself. Obviously, we know that how you show love is not how you receive love.
No, very valid.
I am a words of affirmation girl.
Like you give?
I give.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
I give.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what kind of love I receive.
I thought you were saying...
I do. Quality time. Quality time. Cool. If you spend time with me, then I definitely think you like me.
That I know, because I think that's true. Also here, I've seen it. When you're like, Linda hasn't texted me or talked to me, I'm like, I still love you. Like I understand. So
why are you exposing me like that?
No, but I'm saying like it makes sense. Like I think like I think that there's like people notice different kinds of love languages first. Like if it's happening or if it's not happening. So do you feel like you register people give you affirmations like as a love language attempt on their end or no?
I don't know if I've ever thought about it that way.
That's fair.
Just thought, they were being nice. I mean, I'm telling you, it's something that I've had to work through.
So
like when I was in college and someone would give me a compliment, I would just redirect the conversation, which we're both very equipped with doing.
It's so good. It's so easy.
Now I just look at them. Thanks.
Like,
and I move on.
When you hear it in your head, are you like, that's not true? Or are you just kind of, there's no like, what's happening in your head?
What happens in my brain is, why are they saying that?
Interesting.
That's so odd.
Do you ask that question when they're saying a negative thing or no?
No.
Or does it just like...
Maybe it's just the way that I grew up. I always prepared myself for the worst.
Fair.
Makes sense. I... This is going to sound so bad, but like, I always expected to disappoint other people.
Nice.
We may need to not share this.
No,
anytime that I receive positive affirmation, I don't think it confuses me.
Yeah, that makes a lot. No, I feel,
I'm like, I didn't do something wrong. I'm not being reprimanded.
Like
this interaction doesn't make sense anymore.
I will second this. Like that way, it's not just you sharing, publicly to the internet. I will share. Same. I feel like my expectation also is the same. So the opposite happens. It's like, clearly I'm not done yet because you're not upset.
Yeah, and that's why even this year, something that I consider my first draft, other people consider finished. And we've talked about this.
It's very
And I'm like, no, I need to do more. It's not done. And I'm like, I'm sharing it with you so that you could give me feedback.
Right.
And then they say they have no feedback. And
you're like,
what's wrong with you? You can't improve this?
So then, is there a point where, okay, like, let's use that. So is there a point where, like, you feel like it's done? Or is this a point where you're just like, I don't want to touch it anymore and now whatever it looks like is what it looks like?
Yeah, I think it comes from, I'm tired of looking at this.
But there's no, like, I've been given it, like, I've heard enough, like, feedback or whatever it is, enough that I now feel good about it. Like, that's not the end result.
It always, like, I'm tired of thinking about this.
Yeah.
So then now I'm ready to let it go.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
I'm curious to circle back in a year. I don't think you and I are that far off in this way, honestly. I think we're actually pretty similar. I think it manifests differently for us. I think you do a much better job asking for like feedback, even if like you don't necessarily like accept it or like accept what people tell you on the other side. Like I think that I've watched you grow and that you're more willing to ask.
I know, but I also think that creates a lot of other problems for me because I'm telling you, I'm trying to build self-trust this year.
Good. I love that for you.
And so what I realize is that I am so quick to ask someone else for their opinion instead of trusting my own. And so then I second guess myself. And sometimes it happens where I like ask you for your opinion, but I actually already have an established opinion, and then you give me the opposite, and then I do it what I wanted to do, and it creates issues.
Our No Filter Just Vibes episode
that was
a great one. It was about unlearning and how it requires levity, and our question for that one was, "Who are you most playful with?" Oh, and the mantra was, "Say all your internal thoughts out loud." So the question is, who are you?
That.
I know, right?
Willingly or unwillingly.
Oh, I think we're doing great. Okay, the question is, who are you most playful with? Want to answer?
Who are you most playful with?
I think you, like my friends. I'm most playful with my friends because I feel like we have so many other things that are already aligned that there's room for play. Like we're not like trying to like account for like safety or survival in our relationship. So like we kind of can just like exist and have a good time with each other.
Yeah.
So I think people who I feel like grounded with or like I know we're aligned in enough ways that there's like a lot of like flexibility in our relationship, in our like dynamic and the way we spend time. So
I would agree. I mean, my friendships have always been my playground, my safe havens, and so I definitely would agree that my friends are the people that I'm most playful with. But I would also say, like, children. Children. I don't like dogs. I don't know why. I don't know. Because people love... I don't know how we got here. I just think about... Okay.
Why don't you like dogs? That was, I think, an intrusive thought that came into your brain that you said out loud, and I love that. Why? I agree with you. I also don't like dogs.
Wow, seriously? We have that in common?
Yeah.
That's kind of like...
I used to like cross the street whenever I saw a dog.
Yeah, me too.
I still kind of want to.
Me too. No, I act like I'm a normal person. You
know, I know. I like, back away.
To pet them.
No, oh no.
Gosh,
why?
It's my absolute nightmare.
No, people are like, my dog's the best.
Because I don't want to be weird. I don't want to.
It's not weird. It's weird to me that you think your dog and I should interact.
I don't like dogs.
Nah, fuck that.
Because people look at you like you have 3 heads.
No, I think it's really weird for people to be like, my dog is the best dog ever. Touch him. No.
I definitely do understand having an emotional connection.
That's your business with your dog. I don't gotta be. Don't involve me.
You know, sometimes your dog is there to the hardest.
But that's their relationship. Why do I have to be involved into people's relationship with their dog?
Right, but I'm just saying that you could understand why they would have a
yes, but I don't think they should.
Significant relationship with.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, my dog is the best dog ever. Has never bit anybody in its life, and then they do that. Like, oh my god, it's his first time biting someone ever. I'm so surprised. No, I want no part of that. None of it. Like, that's great. Your dog and you are best friends. It's no, like it doesn't. No, nope. It is still nope. No, I always just back away really slowly, and all my friends know enough to like just stand in front of me when the dog is passing, and I just make my way. I can't. Nope.
So the reason why I said that in the first place is because when people try to create levity in workspaces or even in college, that would happen a lot. Oh, you deserve a break, so let's bring animals.
Oh yeah, like
or
puppies.
You deserve a moment of play in this really hard time where you're doing all your finals and we didn't have to choose this, but here we are. They would bring pets.
Yeah, that's true. I've never gone to those.
No, and I would absolutely avoid them. And so
it sounds really stressful, actually.
They would bring weird animals.
If they brought me to like a daycare, I'd have a great time. I'd be like, me and the kids can hang out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Children. Yeah. I think I would also add like I think that I have a great time by myself. Like I
absolutely
so much fun. Like me in my house alone. Like I pick up random crafts. I make random things. Like I found a way to stay really busy. Like
I mean, didn't you just say you learned how to make lip gloss?
I did. It's so easy. It takes 3 ingredients. It's so easy. It's so much better than whatever else you can buy that has like 35 things I can't read in it. I don't even really wear lip gloss. I keep learning how to do things that I don't use, like earrings.
I love it, but you do it for other people.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think.
Why do you do that?
What do I do? What?
Learn how to do things that you don't necessarily use.
Oh,
learn how to make things that you don't necessarily
Well, for jewelry, like I don't really wear. I don't know. I just like making jewelry. I took a class in high school. I liked it. It was easy. And I think
what do you like about it?
The like the hands-on part.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's nice. I just like I'm not really. I don't know. I've never really been a jewelry person. I'm like allergic to a lot of stuff. It's easier not to.
Yeah.
But I like making it. I think it's pretty. And then for lip gloss, like I think it was just I wanted to see if I could do it. So I think my objective is not even really like it's for people. It's like, oh, like this seems doable. Like, can I? And I'm like, oh, it's done now. Now I have this other skill. Yeah, like for the rose water, same thing. Like they're not necessarily for my benefit, but they could be. I could wear lip gloss.
Yeah.
I could be a person that wears lip gloss. It could be me. Maybe next year I'll start.
I know. You know what you should put on your vision board?
What?
A girl putting on lip gloss.
Yeah, so I can practice putting on more like, like beauty things.
Yeah.
It's a growth area of mine.
Absolutely.
Sure. I'm gonna get there. Right now it's all just people working at a computer.
I know, and that's why we need to change that vision board.
I have stuff to do. I have plans, okay?
I understand.
I'm trying to lock in so I can get my plans accomplished.
When I saw your vision board,
I really liked it.
Why are there so many girls sitting on their desks?
Because like, I'm trying because I'm trying to get this consulting thing together. And that involves me dedicating time to it, you know?
So typically when you do vision boards, there are different areas of your life that you're supposed to sort of attain or think through. So is health, career, finances, and a bunch of other ones.
The computer addresses about 4 of those. So like I feel like I'm doing a great job.
All I need is a computer.
No, but actually, yes. All I need is
you don't need a monitor.
No, look at this is a monitor. She got 2 monitors right there. Okay, she got 2. Also, you're not even taking into credit. There's somebody in the field. Okay, she's outside in the grass. She's sleeping at 10 o'clock. Okay, like she's sleeping early. Okay. You know, there's layers, but but also I can add more things about other parts of my life. I just I feel like
I want more from you than sitting at a desk.
I just think I need a year of that. Like I need to actually like take myself seriously. And I haven't been doing that. I know I haven't been doing that. Like if I'm being really honest with myself,
that's real.
This year could have looked very different and it didn't because I wasn't taking myself seriously. So this is my attempt at accountability because like there's nothing in my way right now but to me. I'm actually standing in my way. So
don't we love that?
It's not great and I don't need to be in my way. So I'm trying to be like, Linda, stop. Nothing is blocking you. Why you fucking around?
Facts.
Stop fucking around. So this is my not fucking around vision board. I could have other vision boards that are about fucking around.
Okay.
So I forget the
fucking
question
around
now.
is important.
You're right. I agree. It is important. And I feel like I've been doing that this year. And I think that I like enjoy my life enough that I only would do things I want still. Like that is a lesson I have like internalized enough. I didn't leave a toxic workplace to just repeat it. Like I've seen the end of that tunnel, like, and I have no interest in.
You pulled the current.
Yeah, I peeked and I walked in there and I was like, what? No, never again.
Yeah, the question was, who are you most playful with?
Oh yeah, right.
And you said yourself.
Right. Okay. So I feel like we answered this question. We can move on to the next one. What's the next one? You want to do the next one?
What emotions do you give yourself permission to feel often? Goes to you, not me.
Oh, fun. Good times.
I don't want to answer that.
The hint says the universe responds to our actions. I believe that. Oh, I told you the story about when I was stuck at the corner at the grocery store.
Yeah,
oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
That was a moment. I remember that synchronicity.
Yeah. What emotions do I give? Okay. I was told recently by my therapist that, I mean, I knew this, and this only
I'm so excited.
This only further confirms what she said, but whatever. That I intellectualize my feelings, right? Which, I mean, it's not new information.
You see, that's what did you have to pay for that?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
She's helpful in other ways. I think it's just nice to, whatever. Different conversation. It's fine. I might not need a therapist. Anyway,
I think it's helpful.
Sometimes I know, but I think for the kind of I don't think this kind of therapy is great for me, because I think talk therapy is fine. Like, talk therapy is great if you don't talk to yourself, but I talk to myself enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I'm figuring out. Anyway, we were talking about that anyway. She was saying that like she notices that like I have a really hard time. I mean, I told her that whatever.
Who's the therapist? You see what I'm saying?
She's great, okay? She's doing her best.
I believe in her.
She was saying that like she notices that when I talk about things that I have a really hard time like explaining to her how it feels. I can tell her what happened, blah, 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 whatever. And
we need to get you a feelings wheel. I forgot about that.
I have one.
Oh, you do
I
have one.
I have like a list. Yeah, I use
good.
it really often. I'm like, I feel tired. I'm trying to use it. Okay.
I just don't know why that's the one.
Because that was an easy one I could use, you know? It's I don't know.
Oh my God. You're killing me inside right now.
So, it's really hard. So she was talking about how like she notices how I'm able to give all the details and explain what all the feelings involved in the situation are, like almost objectively. Mm-hmm. And that like I'm not owning any of them. So I was telling her, remember how I asked you when you journal, do you journal like, do you like write about yourself or do you write like from a third person perspective or like whatever? So I was explaining that to her. She's like, yeah, she's like, that's really normal. So it was nice to hear that. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I thought I was like crazy like in my journaling space, but it was helpful to hear because I don't know how to not do that. Like, I don't think I'm like trying to escape my feelings. Like, I'm not like, I'm down to be sad if I'm sad. I don't know. Like, that's fine. That's where I'm at, I guess. But like, it doesn't, I feel like because I think I think trauma, whatever you want to call it, like whatever process it is to feel your feelings and the process to work through them, I think actually are overlapped for me in my brain and they happen at the same time. Oh. So for me, like the responsibility I feel like I have when something is happening is to like work through it. Mm-hmm. Not like quickly or too fast, but just to be like, okay, like this is where we are, this is where we are. Like I think I accept my reality really fast. Whether that's good or bad, I have no idea. But so I feel like I don't know what emotions I allow myself to feel because I don't feel like I'm stopping myself from feeling them. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's a matter of permission or like I don't think I'm denying any of them. I just feel like the process to work through them feels like it's happening in the same like pace as the feeling. Does that make any sense?
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so I learned that in therapy. That was my point. That was all of that was to say that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because I'm the complete opposite.
What do you mean? What's the opposite of that?
The opposite of that, or maybe I just stay a little longer in just the feelings.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I have a lot of shoulds.
Like when something is happening?
When something is happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a scenario, like random scenario. You can make it up.
Like, I should have responded differently when my dad said this.
But like as your dad is saying something to you, or like you think about it after the fact the situation is over and you're like going back and reflecting on how you could have handled it differently.
Reflecting on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you know? How about when the thing is happening? Like, do you feel like you're like, let's say somebody like yelled at you right now.
Yeah.
Like, are you sitting here like, wow, like I'm angry? I don't know. I don't know what the appropriate feeling is.
Well, one of the big distinctions, I'm still trying to work through this, but especially when I write about how I feel, or when I think about how I feel, I don't say I am angry or I am sad, I am this. I say I am feeling sad. I am feeling worried. Like, I am not that.
Oh, yeah,
I
that
am
makes
not
sense.
mad. That's been a distinction that I've made.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so
Interesting. I think that
it's a small distinction.
I think it's an important one though, because I think that the other way, like if you were to talk about it like I am this thing, then it might be really hard for you to like work through it. Yeah. If you decide that's who you are, then like that's your character more than like an emotional experience you're having because something happened. I think my answer, I mean, I don't know what emotions I give myself permission to feel, but I think what I can say, what I've done this year that feels newer to me is like, I think I'm really good at feels like a stretch. I think I'm working on and better at being like, hey, like this thing you did hurt. And I think I'm low-key, the word hurt is not being used correctly because I don't know how else to communicate it. Maybe hurt is not the right word. But I think I've gotten better. You
don't want to just say it made me feel some type of way.
But I don't know what it made me feel. Like, I don't know what the feeling is. And I think in my attempt to be clear, that feels like if somebody told me you made me feel some type of way, I'm like, I upset you, I hurt. Like, in my brain trying to be figuring out like what upset, angry, like so. Yeah. So I think for me, like, I think I've gotten better at like, it takes me a while to get there when I'm like, oh, like this thing, something I'm still thinking about. And like, I have a hard time trying to figure out how it made me feel. But I think I've gotten better at being like, okay, like this person read my intention incorrectly. And that like, it stuck with me. But I don't know if it's a feeling.
Yeah.
This is the overanalyzing that I do in my brain.
Have you ever noticed how many emotions you have in one day?
No.
I don't know why that's funny. I noticed that.
Interesting.
I noticed that a lot.
Do you notice how often you're like coasting before a different emotion happens?
Not really.
That I've noticed.
That's about yourself?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the only thing I can register.
But is that not just you in your natural state?
Yeah, but I think I'm aware. I guess I'm aware of it. Like I'm aware. I'm like, oh, like I was good until right now.
Oh. Well,
maybe it's the same. I don't know.
Maybe it's the same. Yeah, because even yesterday, I was like, oh my god, I was so excited about something, and then like 20 minutes later, I was like really upset. I was like, what the fuck is going on in my mental world? Like, why do I like switch
Does something
so
else happen
fast?
to upset you, or do you feel like you just kind of like naturally got through the excitement experience and then like
and then I had withdrawal
or something, or you had like another thought in your brain that pushed you to like.
Yeah, maybe.
Because if it's all in your head, that's the hilarious part.
I'm pretty cognizant about that.
Interesting. But you can name that's the thing. I still can't like in my brain be like, this is sadness.
Oh, then I'm like, wow, I'm excited.
Okay.
And then it like stops. And I'm like, oh wow, I enjoyed how I felt then.
I love that. I think maybe the way I notice that is like, I notice when I have energy or don't. But it's not like, but I think like I have more energy when it's like I'm happier. But again, this feels like science to me. Like it's not intuitive in the way that I think it's supposed to be. Something is broken. I don't know what it is.
I think we can all say that.
I don't know.
Something is broken.
Yeah, I'm not sure what, but I definitely like, yeah, people come to me like, yeah, like I feel this way and that way and this way. And I'm like, okay, those are 3 different emotions. Like, how did you distinguish between them when you were like, what happened?
Yeah.
And then like, I just felt it. I'm like, it's not helpful.
And where did you feel
like where in your body? I knew I felt this way. I'm like, yeah, like completely makes sense. Sure. I don't know.
We'll definitely have to come back to this because
but I think
it's a growth area.
Oh, for sure. But I think both of us, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I can do that intuitiveness easily for everybody around me. I'm like, oh, you're having a hard time. Oh. I'm like, oh, this is hard for you. Like,
I can pick it up pretty quickly. I can pick up other people's emotions.
Yeah, like not only can I pick it up, but I can address it without bringing up the emotion.
Oh no,
Like,
I
it
just
depends
take a
on what
minute
it
to
is.
know.
Yeah, but it depends on what it is and who they are. But like, it's not hard to like change an environment experience for people if I notice that they're like awkward or they like, don't know how to interact or like they're feeling like. Oh. But I lack that for myself deeply. Maybe something you can't. Maybe something you just see in other. I don't know. This is not a new conversation.
No,
this is repetitive.
No, we're
all right. Let's move on. Let's do the next one. Let's see. Oh, fun. This one is about parents and families.
Oh, God.
Okay. The title was I Can't Hear Myself Think in This House.
Jamila Woods.
She out here.
The best of the best.
She really is. The hint was blood's not thicker than water. We raise each other. Wow, we were.
Blood is not thicker than water. We raise each other. Mm-hmm. Truly, though.
That is facts. I still agree.
I stand by that.
Yep. Our mantra was we are not alone and we find people anywhere we go.
Mm-hmm.
We're so cute. I like that. The question is, there's two. What did you What did your parents teach you that you want to hold on to? Mm-hmm. What did they teach you that you think you want to let go of? I added the word think in there. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was like,
what did they teach you that you want to let go of? Is the second part. Which part should we answer first?
Neither.
All right. I mean, I'm honestly cool with that. I think it's okay if we just move on to the next question.
So over parenthood.
Okay, we'll just do a one line. We'll just summarize it just to keep our consistency with our reflections. Mm-hmm. Something I learned from my parents that I want to hold on to is from my mom, her ability to build community anywhere she goes. It is impressive. It is like a beautiful trait of hers. I love that about her, and I think I've learned that from her. From my dad, his discipline. Like, nobody accomplishes any tasks like my dad. That man, if he has a task, it is. There's nothing else is important until the task is accomplished. I don't have that kind of like tunnel vision, but I would like to develop it to some extent. What I'd let go of is their inability to like step into other people's shoes. Would like to let go of that because
they typically are able to step into other people's shoes? They can't.
So I feel like I like learned that also from them to like stay in their opinion and in their perspective and like never step into anybody else's. And I feel like that is really hard. And I don't think it was intentional, but I think that it caused a lot more like harm, honestly, for them than like, like they deserved or could have experienced. And I would really like to release that for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just wrap it up right there. Your turn.
If I'm being honest, I don't know if I know my parents enough as people anymore.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was hard to say out loud.
That's okay.
So I know what my memory of them is.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's who they are now.
That's what you can base it on, though. That's still, like, whoever you remember them to be is, like, everything I just told you is based on, like, them when I was, like, in 8th grade. Mm-hmm. It's not based on them now at all.
Yeah. So.
Because now they're just people. Then they were your parent. I mean, really relative. But
they still act like my parents, to some extent. I will say that what I've noticed about both of them is that they have an open heart. And I will hold on to that. Yes. And my dad cracks me up sometimes, but he always knows somebody that knows how to do something.
That man is connected.
He has an interconnected web. And he's always looking out for people, and people are always looking out for him. And I love witnessing that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, parents are hard.
Yeah. Still hard a year later, so let's keep it pushing.
However, to be transparent, this is our attempt at answering some hard questions. Yes,
so please also answer the questions, even if it's hard, because we're trying to.
And then when you're ready to let go of the questions, do that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm like, I've had enough of this. Yep. I don't want to think about this anymore. I am choosing to move on.
Because you're an adult and you can.
Please affirm our adult. Okay. Maybe this will be our last question.
Okay. Make it a good one. We have some nice options.
Do we? Okay. What childhood dream have you upheld? Come on. Let's talk about little Linda.
Little Linda. Little Linda had so many dreams. LL.
Maybe that'll be your new nickname.
No.
LL?
No. I don't like it.
It's fine. I tried.
You did. You did a good job. A for effort, like C for execution.
Okay, so you... So the other day, I also said A for effort, and then I said, no, it's E for effort.
No, it's a grade. The first letter, you got an A for trying. And it's C for how it turned out.
And I said that out loud, and I was so confused. I was like, what?
Why is it an A for effort?
Why is it an A for effort? Like, why? What is wrong with me?
No, A. A like the letter A, like a grade, like 100%. Good job.
Can't believe I forgot that. Anyway.
Okay. What childhood dream? I love that. This is good. This happens every 4th episode because our 4th one was also the no filter just vibes one last time. So, you know, here we are. Full circle moment. Okay. Childhood dream I've upheld. Does it count as a dream to like live on my own? Is that a dream that I could count? Oh, okay. All right.
This been a dream of mine for a long time.
Yeah, I remember like when I was in like my first like summer camp whatever experience. I was in Chicago and I like had a roommate and I was like, oh my god, like I'm in charge of like eating. I'm in charge of like my bedtime, like brushing my teeth. Like all of that is like there's no way if I don't do it like it's just not gonna get done. There's nothing else that happens.
So fun.
And that was like I was like, this is a possible life for me to do this every day. So I was like, I'm gonna live alone somewhere somehow. And, you know, jump like 12, 13 years. And here we are in an apartment that no one else lives in but me. So I upheld that one. I mean, I did uphold my dream of becoming a teacher. I really thought it would take much longer and that it would like be so much more fulfilling than it is. But it's still a dream I upheld. Yeah, those two I've definitely kept.
I graduated college.
Hey, that deserves a high five. Don't leave me hanging. Yay, good job.
Yeah, that was a big dream of mine when I was younger.
Good dream.
Yeah. I was like, I want to go to college and I want to go to college.
And graduate.
Anything
like
past
finish.
that was unclear.
That's fair.
But I knew that I wanted to like leave New York and go somewhere else. And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, it might have been nice to go to college in New York, but I didn't do it, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I think it's nice to go to the opposite of where you are. Like, you were in a city.
Yeah.
And, like, Worcester is not a city.
It's a city. It's just smaller. Let's put some respect on Worcester.
I like Worcester a lot, but I would consider it a town. I know it's I think it's the second largest city in New England, technically, space-wise. Yeah. But, like, it didn't feel that way at all.
No, it didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Worcester.
She's a good egg. Mm-hmm. Over time, she grew on me.
Yeah. So that was a big dream of mine.
You did it.
And
you have another degree. You got 2 degrees.
I know. And somehow I was like, let's keep going.
It's crazy.
I was like, what else is there to do?
That's the same reason I went to grad school. Yep. That's exactly why I went to grad school. I was like, well, I know how to do this. So
I have no regrets, but definitely getting my master's. I don't know how I still feel about it some days.
Yeah. I can't believe it happened. I just remember I was like, wow, like I was spending all of my time on the bus.
Do you understand that I was 22 years old and they handed me a master's and I was so confused? Again, talking about one of those moments where I'm like, you're giving me this?
I was like, for me? Yeah. That.
And grad school was so easy.
Yes.
Grad school was a piece of cake.
It was easy.
I would do it all over again.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah. So graduating, I would say that's a dream of mine.
The last thing I'll say about the degree thing is like, not only was it wild that they gave me a degree, but I was like, I can't believe that my first purchase basically as a grown-up was school. Like I really like
it's pretty responsible, reliable.
Facts, you know, like
Very
I was like wow, look at me. I was like, I don't have grad school debt, but I have undergrad debt, so clearly I was not an adult then, because that would have been avoided had I known better. But it's fine.
I don't know how I agreed to have debt.
Yeah, it just happened. I remember when I was doing the loan stuff, and I didn't do this. I want to just make sure I'm clear. This did not happen. But the person who was doing the loan stuff, she was like, get a credit card.
Oof.
I was like, what? She was like, yeah, just, like pull out like everything on a credit card. And I was like, you want me to take my undergrad loan on a credit card? And you're telling me this, knowing that I have no support around me, and like I'm sitting here in your office alone, clearly poor.
Wow.
I'm so glad I didn't listen to her, because now that I understand credit cards, that would have been a wild decision for me to make when I was not having income. Like,
yeah.
So she was trying to mess with my future.
Basically.
She was a hater.
Yeah. She did not want you to ever build wealth.
Yeah. She wanted me to stay poor. I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. Gonna move on.
We're not forgiving her.
No. Still don't like her. I think she got fired that year. So
thank
whatever.
God, she clearly was not doing her job.
Exactly.
Earlier you said that you have a lot of fun with yourself.
Yeah,
that you are pretty playful with yourself. Has that always been the case, or when did you learn to enjoy your alone time? And have you ever experienced loneliness?
Yeah,
I mean, I guess everyone experiences loneliness.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a bad question.
No, it was a great question. I think some people don't, because they like just stay around people, and they don't ever like give themselves a chance to experience it. Mm-hmm. But for me, I feel like it was high school. I remember in high school, like I was so afraid to go anywhere alone. I couldn't do it. I was like, it's so embarrassing. Everyone was looking at me like I can't handle it. Like,
do you remember when it was such a big deal, at least in college, when you like sat by yourself?
Yeah.
At the, what is it called? The dining hall?
Yep.
That was a really big deal.
Yeah. It was awkward. Like, I just...
Yeah.
So I remember I was like senior year in high school. Like, I just like... I wanted to do things, but like people didn't want to go with me. So I was like, okay, I can't do them because like they said no. So it means that felt crazy in my head, but like not enough for me to be like, I'm going to go anyway. I just didn't. I don't know. So I remember it was like senior year. There's this coffee shop in Cambridge called Crema Cafe. I think it's closed now. It's something else. Yeah. But anyway, it's a beautiful little coffee shop. And like, I used to like go there by myself and be like, okay, half an hour, just like sit here. Like, it was horrible. I'd like bring a book that I was not reading and just like hold it, or like, I don't know, like be really busy. But like, it was just so hard. I was like, this is so, and like no one gives a fuck about what I'm doing in this coffee shop.
Absolutely.
But I feel like I was trying to do like immersive therapy for myself, because I just like could not. I like, it was so hard. I was like, why is this?
Say more about immersive therapy.
Like, I was doing it. I was like going to a coffee shop and just like, and as uncomfortable as that felt to just be there by myself, I was like, this cannot feel this crazy. Like, yeah. I was like, I'm just drinking coffee. Like, it's not the end of the world. And like, I feel like that was my shift, like my initial attempt to like get comfortable being alone. And even then, like, that was drastically far from when I actually got comfortable being alone. But it was really hard to even just like, the optics of it was like really a challenge. But I feel like by the end of that, like when I got to college, like that part got easier. Like, I didn't mind as much going places alone. I still felt like people were watching me and like, but like I did it more. But I still felt like I was doing a lot of avoidant, escapist things at that point in my life. And we're gonna just leave that at that.
I love that that's what we call it.
Yeah, I don't know what else to call it.
There's been so many times like I was engaging in escapist behavior.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think it's a really good general category. Yeah. Decide what you want, whatever
it
story
encompasses a lot.
Whatever story people are telling us about that is true.
I did that.
Yeah, so I was doing that a lot. So I feel like because I was doing that, I definitely wasn't experiencing loneliness because I was like avoiding it. Even if I was like by my
interesting outlook.
Yeah, I think it's newer. I mean, it's like a lot of the things that are in escapism and avoidant are like not dealing with yourself. Like you just aren't able to, or you can't, or whatever it is. But like I definitely was like physically like by myself, but like I definitely wasn't like spending any time with myself. I think I was just like, I don't know, escaping.
There was an era of college that I know you remember well.
Yeah,
everybody had their
it was
own
like it was a semester of like, wow, it was a semester of like just
junior
destruction.
Junior spring,
we
bowed to you. Yo, and to those
everyone
people
had a bottle in their pocket, their own designated bottle.
That's when I remember looking around and just noticing that everybody was sad because everybody brought their own bottle. And it was never like full. That shit was like being used. It was and it wasn't like one time. It was like for a good 4 or 5 months of time together. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember that semester very vividly because I was like, what is in the water? All of us are doing wild shit right now. Yeah. Yeah. So that I think was like, honestly, that was like, that felt like rock bottom. Like, that was definitely like, rock bottom. That's when I broke my thumb. That's why I'll never forget that semester. It definitely broke my thumb. I was walking around with a cast and a Henny
did
bottle.
I remember that. Yeah, you definitely had a cast. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, it was not a good time. Not a good time.
TBT.
It was not great, and I was like teaching this summer. It was not good.
I'm like giving.
Like loving tops are important. So I feel like it was like up until that point, I feel like I wasn't spending time alone, even though I was like alone a lot of the time. Like it wasn't good, healthy, on it. Nothing great. And then I think it was like senior fall. Like I think I was still like foggy from all the, activities. I don't know how else to describe the college.
It. I felt foggy.
Yeah, like I think I was coming out of it a little bit, enough to just be like, okay, like maybe I'll do less escapist shit. Just like a little bit. I was trying to write a thesis. It was senior year was also a trip. But yeah, so like I think fall and like spring of that year, like I think I like still didn't know what I liked. Like that was a point where I feel like I realized like, oh, I don't know if I like things. Like I don't know if I have preferences. Like,
oh god, what an era.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like I don't actually, I'm like indifferent about everything. And I was like, am I actually indifferent, or like am I just not like, am I not listening, like am I not asking? I don't know, I couldn't figure out the like, but I was able to at least recognize that.
That's when you started centering yourself.
Yeah, or at least trying to. It definitely was a few years post that I actually did it, but
yeah,
everything takes at least 3 years, fortunately.
Okay.
But I feel like I was beginning to ask the question of like, oh, like I thought because I was spending time alone that I was like able to be alone, or like I wasn't lonely, or like whatever. But I think,
of course,
I know it's like tricky. So that year I was like, oh, like I was like, do I like stuff? Like, do I have like favorites? So I feel like I spent a lot of senior year like trying to get better at saying yes to things I wanted and saying no. And it was like, honestly, I felt like a kid. I was like, this is really difficult. Like, I don't know. And I couldn't decide if like I just really didn't care, or like I just couldn't, I don't know, whatever. So that was, and then it wasn't until like maybe a couple years after that like I went back to crafting. Like I went back to like hobbies, and I was like working at school. I was like, hey, I like finally have accomplished like some part of my like vision for what I think I want in my life. And like that felt affirming, so it was easier to like, because that was true, like investigate other ways to give myself that same feeling that wasn't tied to school or work.
Yeah.
So it took literally until like 23 to at least like recognize.
It's not bad.
Yeah? Okay. It feels like a long time. All right, so I think that's my long-winded answer. What about you?
Yeah. When I was a junior and senior in college, I just used to play the song Holy. And there's one line in the song that she says, I'm not lonely, I'm alone. And it was my mantra. And I just kept repeating it to myself, because I definitely felt alone a lot in college. For so many different reasons. I mean,
list is long.
I'm like, there's too many things to count. But I think the first time that I felt alone in a room of crowded people was senior year of high school.
Oh, interesting.
Where I just looked around, I was like, I don't know how I feel about these people, and I don't know if I want them in my life, and everything's about to change because I'm applying to college and I want to leave this hellhole of New York City that I love and, rap all the time.
Hey.
But that was the first time I remember. I think I was in like history class or something, and I was in the back of the room, and my friends were actually sitting next to me, and I was just looking at them, and I was like, I feel really sad. And I don't know why. I know, like, I don't know why I think it's funny now. But I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah, that's probably maddening. Like,
yeah, I was like, something doesn't feel right here. And I'm so glad that I don't have to be here next year. And that entire year, that's why 2014 Forest Hills Drive was my album. That was my album that whole year. And I just, oh my God. I just replayed that album almost every day, and that's all I listened to. And I was like, wow, I was actually really sad that whole entire year. And I'll never forget that. Almost 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, these things stick with you. They stay in your body.
And the fact that it's been 10 years is also maddening to believe, like,
for a whole year of your life, that's how you're feeling.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling. And I was so alone. And I had friends, like,
all the optics of it don't look right.
External to me was functioning as is, but everything internal was like fucking like gone. I don't know what happened. Like something switched in me that year.
Do you feel like you were aware of your internal world at that point in your life? Or that you had one? Even?
That was my first time.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Recognizing that I don't know, was a person and I had thoughts and I had emotions and
you're not just a reactive person to the things around you, but just
that things were happening inside of me that I couldn't understand or pinpoint why. And I mean, I love being alone now. I very much enjoy it.
Why do you enjoy it now? I mean, obviously,
I just get to decide how I spend my time, and I think that is glorious. Like, I don't have to justify why I'm doing this. Bet.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go do that, and I'm gonna be left alone.
Right.
So
maybe it's like a value. Maybe it's like a value thing. Like I feel like what I'm hearing, or I think even what's true for me is like, if you're aware, you have an internal world, but you're not aware that like in that internal world you are in charge. Mm-hmm. It might feel like you're just kind of observing like chaos.
Yeah.
But then like as you have time and as you grow and as you realize like this internal world is actually receptive to the things you decide, then the internal world feels a lot more of like an empowering home. Yeah. And it might, if you don't feel like that, you have like not control, but just like that it is like it is receptive to just you, not like anything external, but like
yeah.
So you can have fun in there, or it could be hell. I mean, that's really
exactly.
It's really
that's
both
why
available
I say,
to
like,
you.
We are our own universes.
Yeah.
We could be in the same room and we're having very different experiences depending on what's happening inside of us.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I feel like that was definitely the beginning of me considering like my interior world, and now I value it so much. I'm like, wow,
it's so colorful in there.
Yeah, there's so much going on. That's why even when I think, oh, right now I'm feeling excited, it's like, oh, wow, that's fun. Yeah. And then I'm feeling this other emotion.
You're like, ooh, it's like fun.
I'm like constantly talking about to myself.
Yeah.
And like constantly considering what is happening to me and how I feel about it, which I don't think is something people actually do.
No, I agree with you. It's a great time if you can do it. Like if you're able to do it, I think it gives you, your life feels easier to navigate. Yeah. I think we talked about this in our first season, but like, the only thing, I forget how it goes, but the only thing that requires a response or that anything that calls for urgency in our bodies are ego. And I think your ego is part of your internal world. Like if you're able to like, then that means that your life can just like slow down. Like nothing becomes like, everything else becomes like, you can navigate it with much more ease when you know that your internal world got you. Like it's figuring stuff out for you while you're also just like pushing forward in your life here.
Exactly.
There's something about the combination of that. I love that.
I could always return to this place.
Yeah. That is only have your influence in it.
Mm-hmm. And that's why when we were talking about picking up people's energies, it was really important for me to recognize like what's mine, what's my energy. And I could only do that by myself.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
Yeah. I think the part of loneliness that's tricky is like, if you don't have that, then people's energy feels like yours. So like that's why maybe you couldn't figure out why you were sad. It's like it probably wasn't yours, but like it was, you had absorbed it or whatever it was. Yeah. So I think the more you're able to clarify yours, the more easily you can be like, that's not mine. Like I don't want that for me. Yeah. I love that. All right, go us.
I know we
did a lot of this was a hard episode.
Was it hard?
No, but yes.
Why?
I mean, it's hard to share. It's hard to reflect on like things that I don't feel like I'm good at or that I struggle with. But I think it's easy. One, because of our relationship, but also I think because like we spent all of our time thinking about these things. So I have a lot of thoughts. I just don't necessarily share them verbally out loud often.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why we have this space.
Exactly.
To do that.
The messy part.
Yeah.
Thanks, the messy part.
Thanks, the messy part, right? Aww. It helps us stay messy.
Any last things you want to say? Any things you hope people take away from this episode? Our last one of 2024.
Yeah.
Well, I guess recording, but
I know. That's why I'm like trying to figure it out in my brain. I don't have a thought. I have a question.
Ooh, we love.
What do you want more of in 2025?
What do I want more of? I want more fun.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it at that. I want more fun.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Less is more.
I want more fun.
Okay. You see, this is why I ask questions. I'm like, I thought that was going to give
This is
me
why
time.
you have friends like us. You want me to give a longer answer? I can do that.
No,
Would
it's
that
fine.
help you?
I do. Right. I believe that less is more.
All right.
So I think that's good. I want more promises to be kept. And more self-trust.
Here, here.
Here, here.
Here, here.
Copy, paste.
Copy, paste. Yes.
Copy,
I like that.
Paste.
Shout out to the ultimatum for that one.
Oh, God. How?
Oh, can't talk about it.
Yep. That's fine. That's fine. Boom.
I still need to watch the rest. I hope that people take away how important it is to circle back. There's
okay.
yeah, you like that?
I like that. It's like, wow,
yeah,
that's real.
Because like, look, like this entire conversation is based on questions we asked ourselves a year ago, and like, one, I'm proud of us. We've done clearly a lot of thinking about these questions. Maybe it was like in our internal world and not in our heads, maybe, but yeah, I think there's such value in trusting that your brain's always working for you. Like it's your like body, your memory, your like spirit, whatever is always working to like give you the best experience it can. And this felt like a way to kind of nourish that process. Like circle back. Like we asked that question, like what's the answer? Even if you don't have a full one, you know, like circling back I think helps your memory. Remember that, like, I don't know, like you were trying to think about this. You're trying to figure out how to do this thing that was good for you. So if you never circle back to it, then like the question feels like it never gets resolved. So I like that we went back. I think that was a really good idea. So hope people circle back.
I love that.
Questions, conversations, and people.
I love that. And to me, it signifies that we can think about something for a really long time.
And the answer will always change.
It and create new forms, and maybe we have new opinions. Like I hope that I answer these questions in a few years and maybe my answers are radically different, or maybe they're deeper, and maybe I have more examples to give next time. And so there is value in asking ourselves questions and returning to them over time, like whether it's a lifetime, few years.
And it's okay if some say the same. Like some things that were hard last year are still as hard now.
Absolutely.
And that also just means like notice it, acknowledge that, and just let that shit go. It's okay. Right. Like there's enough to do.
Exactly. There's enough things to realize. I'm very proud of us.
I know. God.
I like saying that.
Yeah, it's good to verbalize it. I feel like I always tell you often. I think like it's important to me. I try to make sure that I tell people stuff about them, because I think that there's a lot that goes unsaid. Yeah. And it's just like, it's not hard. So just make sure that you like say it out of your mouth. There's something about like making sure it's spoken as much as it is felt or anything else. Yeah, I'm proud of us too. We did it. We had this little idea, and now we're 2 seasons in
to sharing more out loud.
Yeah. And to staying messy.